Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Luqman Mustaqim and our group member are Brother Sharif, Brother Ihsanul Kamil and Brother Ismail. So our group are given a topic to discuss on late payment charges in Islamic banks in Malaysia, which specifically focus on personal finance. So our group was given 9 banks, which namely as HBC Amanah, Alliance Bank, Qawaid Finance House, Afin Islamic, Bank Islam, Hong Leong Islamic, Maybank Islamic, Bank Islamic and CIMB Islamic. So what do we know about late payment charges? Late payment charges are divided into two, which is Ta'wid and Gharama. Ta'wid is compensation which act as financial. They are imposed to the customer who fails to pay on time, which is disclosed in the product disclosure sheet. Ta'wid is not a riba because it is incurred to cover the losses or expenses by the bank due to the overdue period. So a bit of background on Ta'wid. Ta'wid is introduced in 2010, where before it was introduced, the Islamic bank suffered losses from the customer defaults of repayment on their financing. So the central bank, Bank Negara Malaysia, imposed the late payment charges, Ta'wid, through its Sharia Advisory Council, and it is approved to be imposed to by the Islamic bank to the customer. So another late payment charges are Gharama, which is penalty to the customer who fails to settle their debt, but not to the customer who fails to pay on time. So what is the difference between the two late payment charges, Ta'wid and Gharama? Ta'wid is recognized as income to the bank, whereas Gharama cannot be recognized as income or profit to the bank, and it must be channeled to the relevant charitable bodies. Why is this so? Ta'wid was imposed to compensate the bank as expenses and losses incurred by the bank, whereas Gharama is just a late payment penalty charged to the customer who fails to settle their debts. So the central bank, Bank Negara Malaysia, imposed a standardized rate on these late payment charges applied by Islamic bank in Malaysia, which is the standard rate is 1% per annum. So, relating to our course, Qawaid Fiqhiyiyah, there is several legal maxims related to the application of late payment charges. The first maxim that is related to the application of late payment charges are ad-darar yuzal, harm is to be eliminated, and another is al-aslu fi jami' al-uqud al-adl. The fundamental requirement in every contract is justice. So we will look more into the legal maxims later after the analysis of each bank given. So we may now take a look on the analysis of late payment charges in every bank that was given for our topic. In general, every bank shares the same nature of product which they uses unsecured Islamic personal financing products which uses tawaruk contract or murabaha contract for the personal financing products. So basically, for the 9 banks that we analyzed, they comply to the Bank Negara Malaysia's standardized rate, which is 1%, and this is imposed on the customer who default during the financing tenure. However, if the customer default prior to the financing tenure, they will charge based on Interbank Islamic Money Market, IIMM, which is also known as daily weighted average overnight rate in Mudarabah Interbank Investment. So now we may take a look on the analysis of late payment charges in every bank that was given for our topic. So in general, they share the same nature of product which they use unsecured Islamic personal financing products which uses tawaruk contract or murabaha contract. So basically, this bank comply to the Bank Negara Malaysia's standardized rate, which is 1%, is imposed to the customer who default repayment during the financing tenure. However, if the customer default repayment prior to the financing tenure, they will be charged a different rate which does not exceed the Islamic Interbank Money Market (IIMM), which is also known as daily weighted average overnight rate in Mudarabah Interbank Investment. So how do the banks calculate these late payment charges? So I will explain on the formula on the late payment charges. We take the outstanding amount multiplied by late payment charges. For example, we take 1% as the late payment rate, multiplied by number of days due, divided by 365 days. So the formula will give the late payment charges to the customer who default the repayment of financing during the financing tenure. Relating legal maxims to the case of late payment charges, we have extracted several legal maxims. So the first legal maxims relating to the late payment charges is ad-dararu yuzal, harm should be eliminated. So example in real life, in Islam, it is prohibited to drive exceeds the speed limit, as it may cause harm to the people and damages to the property. So in this case of late payment charges, the charges imposed to the customer act as deterrent to prevent the customer from defaulting repayment of financing. So the second legal maxim is al-aslu fi jami' al-uqud al-adl. The fundamental requirement in every contract is justice. So for example, in contract of sale, both parties have to be clear on the subject matter of the contract, and the subject matter of the contract also must be deliverable and specified prior to the concluding the contract. So in this case of late payment charges, it is fair that the bank impose the charges, the additional charges to the customer, as it suffered loss and incurred expenses due to the default repayment of the customer. The next legal maxim is al-kharaju bil-daman, benefit goes with liability. In general, the customer has the right to enjoy the benefit from the financing. However, it is also important to take note that the customer is also liable and responsible to repay the financing installment. So in this case, if the customer fails to settle the installment on time, the customer also liable and responsible to be charged with additional charge as to cover the losses and damages to the bank due to the failure to settle the payment on stipulated time. So in conclusion, this late payment charges is important to ensure that every party's rights are served with justice, both the Islamic banks and the customer. It is also important to take note that the application of late payment charges are essential to ensure that possible of harm or risk towards the bank is minimized as much as possible. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That's all from us.